I've been in the fitness industry for a hot second at this point. For those of you that are new here, I'm a gym owner and I'm a nutritionist and all that good stuff. So I've sort of seen it all. There's a few things that I see over and over and over and over. If I can prevent you from making the same mistakes that I just so commonly see, these are the things that I see people believing the most often that are simply not true. I'm also going to tell you kind of how to achieve what that was supposed to achieve in a way that will actually make it happen for you. The first one is a common one, but I want to make sure we hit it because it is still such a thing. You cannot spot reduce fat coming in and doing an ab workout and saying, oh, well, I want abs. While that's not wrong, and we'll get to that later, working out a certain part of your body is not going to make that part of your body have less body fat on it. Unfortunately, most things having to do with how you gain or you lose fat are primarily your hormones and then your genetics. So some people genetically store fat in different places. Men are going to typically store fat in their midsection more often, and women are going to tend to store a lot more fat in our arms and our thighs and around our butt. Certain things can affect this, but for the most part, where you gain and where you lose isn't totally in your control. What you can do instead is a trick that a lot of bodybuilders use is you can build up certain muscles to give the illusion of making certain body parts look smaller. Example of this is building out your lats. So the muscle that runs as a big triangle kind of on your back underneath your armpits, that muscle by making it bigger is going to give the illusion of a smaller waist. Then if you want like that BBL effect, you also build out your glute medius. So these are the muscles on the side of your butt. Your glute max is sort of what gives you the you know?
Ridiculous. It's real, people. It's real.
And then your glute medius is sort of what gives you the, you know? What we're looking for is to build out the things that are surrounding your waist. Your waist is then gonna look smaller. The point is something is getting bigger for the illusion. You are not choosing where to lose weight from because unfortunately you can't. One of the best things you can do if you're looking to reveal any muscle is get your nutrition in check. Most people, that's gonna be where their issue lies. Unfortunately, most people I feel like are trained to just like go to the gym to start there. Most people need to start in their kitchen. Number 2, there is this narrative that soreness equals efficacy. That's not true. How hard you worked out and how sore you are or how sweaty you get or anything like that, that is not going to correlate directly with how effective whatever you did was. While it's not going to signal you efficacy, it is going to tell you a few other things that you can pay attention to. Soreness can give you insight on what you are actually working. I'm going to break some hearts here, but if your back is the only thing that is ripping sore after you deadlift, you're not using your legs when you deadlift. No, I am. No, you're not.
Go, Matt. Go, Matt. There you go, Matt.
The things that are sore are the things that have been challenged. Whether they have been worked out and challenged correctly is a whole nother story. And this can also give you a little bit of insight on your recovery. So if you are a person that you have super delayed soreness and then it's super bad, if you do not have any sort of extenuating circumstances, this is going to tell you basically how fast is your body rushing to repair that stuff. Are you serious?
What?
From the corner. If you are feeling your soreness far delayed, like 2-3 days after, and then that's when it starts to get bad, that might be telling you that you're not recovering in the ways you should. For example, if you work out really hard and then you get like a crap night of sleep, then the next day after that good nights of sleep, that's when you start feeling it. That's because you started recovering, right? Number 3, that you can exercise however, whenever, whatever to get to a very specific goal. This is not true. I feel like I get this a lot when people come into the gym expecting to have a relatively decent level of strength because they've worked out for years. But if you've done like boot camps and Zumbas and all that, you've never trained with any progression of weights, you're not really going to get much stronger in a sense that would bring you to a massive number on like the first try squatting. Now this is tricky because it's not like you are not getting stronger or progressing at all. However, if you think about the way someone who competes in strength trains versus someone who just exercises for enjoyment, the person that is competing in strength, they're specifically trying to hit numbers that are building, right? So the reason that people that are trying to compete in powerlifting are not taking Zumba classes, it's not that Zumba isn't fun and it's not a good workout to get your heart rate up and have a good time. That's great, but it's not going to get you to a goal. So if you have a goal, make sure that you're exercising in the way that's going to get you there, and really know the difference between training and exercising. Training gets you somewhere. There's a goal and there's a defined pathway to get there. Exercising is to get your heart rate up, get moving, all of the good things that come along with training, but you're not going to be building to something specific. This is like the orange theories, the F45s. It's not going to progress you in a certain direction. You are just going to get healthier overall, which is not a bad thing. Oh, this one. Get ready to argue in the comments. It is not impossible to have a six-pack. It's not impossible to have a six-pack year-round. It's not impossible to have a six-pack for almost anybody under normal health conditions. And not you think you might have, but the tests don't. If you are a normal, healthy human for the most part, you can have a six-pack. That is not to say that it is possible to have a six-pack with the things that you don't want to change about your life. So if you are not willing to do certain things, that's a different story. And maybe I'll make a video on this, like for the person that does want to walk around with a six-pack, what does that take? I might do that because it's not impossible. However, there's a reason that I know how to get somebody a six-pack and I don't walk around with a rippling 12-pack all the time. It's because that shit is hard. It's not easy, but it's not impossible. Oh, well, my genetic, oh, well, this, oh, well, that. There's always things you can do. And if you tell me you are being absolutely perfect and there's nothing you can improve, really take a microscope to your life and ask yourself if that's really the truth. I think with ourselves, like there's a reason that I don't coach myself. It's because we tell ourselves a lot of stories about if you're not being perfect, you don't know that you can't have a six-pack. Don't tell yourself that it's impossible to do something if you really do want it, but do understand what it takes and then weigh that. Don't just tell yourself you can't do it. Number 5, this one is my favorite. This one I think will break some hearts. Everybody better than you is not on steroids. A lot of people are on steroids. A lot of your heroes, they're on steroids.
That's an exception.
But they were better than you before that. That's the thing. I think people think that steroids are this thing and this magical unicorn powder injection where it's like Hulk level, like it's completely different. It's not that way. For a general purpose, on average, with steroids, most people are going to see approximately a 10% increase in their performance. Strength sports are obviously the easiest one to do here. So say Joe Schmo, who thinks that everybody is on steroids, versus Joe Big Guy, who actually is on steroids, but is very, very talented and very, very strong, has worked his ass off. Joe Schmo squats 200 pounds. Joe Big Guy squats 1,000 pounds. He puts on 10%. See where I'm going with this? Just because someone is on steroids does not mean that they were not massively, massively better than you to begin with.
That's an exception.
Bottom line is, if it was that important to you, you would be on steroids too, and you would be in the gym for 8 hours a day. A lot of people are not at the level where steroids are even close to worth the health risks that come along with them. You see these amazing bodybuilders from kind of like the bodybuilding golden age. A lot of them aren't around anymore. So I'm not talking about cheating. I am talking about people that are in untested federations on purpose, setting these records. I'm not talking about completely faking it. That's a whole different thing. What I am saying with this, if somebody is on steroids, they are taking a massive risk. If you are not completely inept, there is no reason to go on that sort of cycling that even shows that full 10% improvement. If you're not seriously going to get your name in lights in some way, get some sort of big payoff. Just because someone's on steroids does not mean that they were not massively more talented than you, and it doesn't mean that they're cheating. If they're in an untested federation, get on steroids if you're that upset about it. Don't actually do that. That's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed this and have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye, guys.